Well, welcome University of Illinois to Paint Night Live. I'm so excited to be painting along with you. We are painting this awesome beach scene tonight. Super excited. I've done this design close to 5 to 6 different times for other schools. This is always a really simple and not too tricky design. There might be a few tricky areas once we get to the clouds and maybe some of the detail, but other than that, I'll try my best to teach you and show you kind of the process and way that I paint, as well as giving some pretty easy tips and techniques as well. So also, if you have any questions, I know for the in-person group, I think there should be a mic available to ask questions for the in-person group. And then anyone else that's virtually joining us, feel free to use the chat. That's a great option as well. But without further ado, let's get started. So if you want right now, you all should have a pack of 10 brushes. Feel free to open that pack up. I suggest opening it from the bottom. This works really well. And then you can just pretty much open it and then should slide right out. And I suggest putting that down on your paper towel sheet. That should help just kind of have your brushes all organized and good. I also have my palette paper on my right side of my canvas. We're also using a 11 by 14 sized canvas tonight. And then I have my paint just off kind of to the side on my palette paper. Without further ado, I say that we get started with the painting. Let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna move my canvas so it's more aligned here. But welcome everyone. Hope everyone is having an amazing Friday night. I know I am. Super excited to paint tonight. So this is how my paint set is lined up for the start of this painting. We're not going to be using the black till really later in the painting, so feel free just to set that black off to the side. But how my color combination is going to work is we're mostly going to be working with red, yellow, white, pink, and violet for most of the painting. The black will be kind of the last thing we'll add on, mostly for like the rock formation and stuff like that. I'm going to arrange my paint set right now to the order of how we're going to be painting our sky. So we're going to start off with red, followed by, I'm trying to arrange it right here, red, followed by yellow, then followed by white, followed by pink, and then violet. So if you want, feel free to arrange accordingly. This just helps be able to really like highlight and know exactly what paints we're going to be using, and the blending technique we're going to start will really go in this type of order for our paints. So go ahead and you can open your red paint right now. This will be our first color we will be using. Also, let's talk about our first brush. We'll be using brush 5/8, otherwise known as the biggest brush in the set. So you can go ahead and get that brush out right now. Again, brush 5/8, the biggest brush in the set. I'm gonna wait for everyone to get caught up. I know some of us are still opening up our paint and getting our brushes out. But again, brush 5/8, biggest brush. Okay, and we'll give everyone about 15 more seconds and then we'll start the painting. Okay, well, I say that we can now get started. So what I'd like everyone to do is to grab your big brush and just dip a little bit into that red. We almost really just want a little teeny amount on our brush. We don't really want a big glob or anything like that to start off this painting. just a little teeny amount on the brush on both sides is perfect. The first step we're going to do is we're going to find our horizon line for our beach scene. How we're going to do this is we're going to locate the halfway mark of our canvas. For me, the halfway mark is about right here. And again, your halfway mark doesn't have to be perfect like mine. Just try your best. Again, also your horizon line will not have to be perfectly straight once we do it. So again, just follow the best to your ability of doing this painting, and try and follow what you see on the screen onto your canvas. So right now with my red, I'm going to make a dash line right there. So go ahead and make that small dash line. And then pretty simple, once you make that small dash line, we're going to hop on the opposite side of our canvas, and we're going to try and make this kind of as close together as possible. I might be a little off here, but we're going to make an opposite dash line on the opposite side of our first line. So go ahead and do that right now. Then you can get some more brush on your paint if you want. And then pretty simple here, we're going to connect these two dash lines together to make one straight line. I'm going to make my straight line right now. And again, you do not need to press your brush down like really hard and try and get as much paint for the line. Just a small line is fine. This is ultimately going to be where our border between our waves and our sky is going to be. So it just gives us an idea of where we're going to start our blending, going up and going down. We're going to give everyone about 45 seconds to get caught up with adding our red, and then we will get started with our next step. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to answer them in the chat. And I think there's that mic available too for in-person students. And also, I would recommend having your yellow and white open right now. I generally like to say on deck, which means just having materials or supplies ready before we begin the next step. So I recommend having the yellow and the white opened right now. Oh, Emily put in the chat, will this be covered up later? My line is ugly. Well, yes, it will be covered up. Actually, the last and final step of this painting is basically fixing our horizon line. My horizon line might even be a little off, but we'll be fixing it at the end of our painting. Okay, well, I say that we get started doing our blending. Just a side note before we get started, this paint is a fast drying acrylic, so we'll have very limited time to do our blending. So I'm gonna move a little quickly, so just pretty much bear with me. We're gonna take some small breaks in between, but we will be moving pretty fast. So just try your best to keep up. I'm not gonna try and rush everyone, but this paint does dry fast, faster than I talk, honestly. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna find, it doesn't really have to be the halfway, but we're gonna do a small line in the middle of our red line going up. And I'm going to be doing the similar type of technique as we proceed with our blending. After you make that little line up, we're going to make a line above. And then whenever I put a cross, or like a cross, or not a cross, check mark a check mark on either side. That means we're pretty much going to be filling in this entire shape with the color that we're using. And we'll be doing this about 8 more times, I would say, going up and then going down. So if you see this basically type of shape with the check marks kind of on both sides, that means that we'll be filling in. So when you are ready, grab your red and then start to fill in this shape with the red. And feel free, this canvas does pick up paint quite a bit, so feel free to go slow with your blending and just make sure that all the paint kind of gets soaked into the canvas. That's always the best way to do these paintings. So I currently have my red now on the canvas. And I'm gonna give everyone about 25 seconds. I know not a lot, not a lot of time, but 25 seconds to get caught up with filling in your red. Okay, and then I think we're ready to move on. Once you have your red filled in, we are going to grab a glob of yellow, and then we are going to basically do the same sort of shape, but we're going to move our yellow about halfway into our red. So again, I'm going to make the similar type of shape and line like I did previously for the red, but we're just gonna move it a little bit into that red. And then again, I'm gonna put our, oh, marks, I just totally wiped my brush way down there. Yeah, forget about that. I've never like gone that far, but yeah, I just slipped my brush, but slipped it a little too far. But again, we have the check mark here, check mark here. This is all going to be filled in with yellow. So when you're ready, I would suggest start adding the yellow above your red line. It's going to start to blend with the orange, but that's completely normal. But start to apply the yellow, and then you can also get some more, and then start applying that yellow and blending it with the red. You should start to kind of get the blend of orange and red, kind of creating more of a orange-red type color. But the biggest thing is we really want this main line up here to be different, of course, than our main red. And that will help kind of define the sky and the way the sun's coming out and stuff like that. And then quickly, once you're done applying your yellow, quickly grab some white and basically create a fast white line above your orange. So just grab some white and then quickly start to blend. And you can pretty much cover that top line where it was kind of orange, but just lighten it down a little bit. And then if you want, you can get some more white and then blend in between the red and the light orange. And you should create almost like a red pink type color. And I would say that's pretty good for our main line. We're going to take a quick break here just to make sure that everyone is caught up. I'm going to reteach the steps. So of course we started off with the red, then we added some yellow, and doing this same type of shape and deal thing. We filled in with the yellow, and then we started blending to create this red-orange. Then what I did is I grabbed some white and basically painted over that orange-red to create this like light orange. And then I just grabbed some more red and painted underneath that to make kind of a secondary light pink above the red. So again, hopefully that wasn't too complicated, but that's kind of how at least the steps are told when I usually try and reteach them and tell them. But we're going to give everyone about 45 seconds to get caught up with where we're at on this painting. And pretty much we're going to be repeating the same sort of steps for other colors as we move up to finish our sky. And we'll give about 30 more seconds here. Jessica put my horizon is too high. Oh well, don't worry about it. Some people's horizons are a little high, but we'll still be able to work it out to where you're still having enough of the waves and the rocks kind of below. So we'll make it work. Don't worry about it. Okay, and then I think we are now ready to move on. So we're going to be going back to our white, and we are going to make a mark. It's going to be hard to see on the screen a little bit just because of how this white is looking on the canvas. I'm going to apply some more pressure with my brush to kind of bring out the colors that are underneath it. But we're going to be applying white and doing a white strip of color about right there. So it's a pretty big strip, about the size of probably this. But when you're ready, again, we're going to be filling in this whole area with white. And I would start to fill that in right now. And again, it does not have to be pure white on your canvas. If some of your orange is still a little wet, try your best to blend it kind of together on the bottom there. But again, feel free to move that brush around and make sure that paint's still loose. Move that brush around a little bit more there. And again, slow and steady, just move that brush back and forth, back and forth. And for me, that looks about pretty good for our white. And there's just a new message in the chat. IU board said, don't forget, post your finished painting on Instagram, tag us for a chance to win at Illinois Union board, hashtag IU board. Make sure that you do that for a chance to win. And at the end of the stream, I will put my Instagram handle as well, if you want to tag me on Instagram. Okay, well, we'll give some more time here for everyone to get finished up with the white. And I would have your pink and your violet open and on deck. So now you should have at least all these paints opened up. And once they're all open, then we should be able to get started with our next part. Okay. We are now going to start using our pink. And we're going to be doing pretty much the same technique. We are going to bring our pink to about that point, just above our white. And I'm going to, again, make that box for a visual reference here. And if some of your white below is still a little wet, try your best to blend if you can. If not, totally understandable. And of course, make those X's. And then when you are ready, you can start the blending process of adding that pink. And then in a little bit, once we're all done with doing our blending, for the virtual people that are joining us, I would love to see your progress. And I'll try seeing if I can make the in-person attendees, at least for their webcam, bigger on my screen, my personal screen, so I can see how everyone's painting for the in-person is doing as well. So we just added our pink. And again, if your white is still a little bit wet below the pink, just try your best to kind of blend. You don't have to have your blending lines, perfect. We're going to be adding clouds over the top area too, covering most of it. What the background is doing is ultimately capturing, the main focal points of the painting. So then once we add the details, it just kind of flows with the details and stuff like that. We're going to give everyone 15 more seconds to finish up adding your pink. Okay, and then pretty simple. We have one last part of our sky that we have not painted yet. We, of course, are going to be using our violet. So go ahead, get some violet, and then you can start to apply that on the top of your canvas and fill it in. Now, granted, this violet generally is very runny. And I think that's just because of the sheen of it and stuff like that. I've tried to shake it up before, but it's generally always the same. But we're going to solve that problem once we add it. So go ahead and add that violet on the top of your canvas. And then once it is added on the top of your canvas, go ahead and grab some white. You can get a pretty decent sized chunk. And then pretty much we're going to cover the violet with the white and start to blend. And you can bring that right up alongside your pink. And that's going to ultimately create a light, like a lavender, light purple type tone, which is just what we're wanting. So again, once you apply your violet, go back and just basically apply some white, and it's going to give you this really cool tone above the pink. And for me, that will do it for my sun, or not my sun, my sky, sorry. And if you do have water available with you, now's a good time if you want to clean your brush. If you don't have water available, do not worry. You can just grab your brush and try your best to just wipe any excess paint off on your paper towel. So imagine I didn't have water, I still have paint on my brush. I'm just going to pretty much try and get as much off of the access paint on the paper towel roll. And then just leave your brush right on your canvas if you want. And now's the time for any virtual attendees, if you want, to turn on your screen and show your progress for your sky. I would love to see how everyone is doing. Okay, I'm gonna read some names off for our virtual crowd here. Jessica, really love yours. It looks great. Jessica, I recommend just adding a little bit more white mixed with your violet on the top. And that will bring it down just to make it a little bit lighter. Let's see here. Farhad looks so good. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. Let's see here. There's some names I'm trying to pronounce here. Let's see here. Emily, really love your blending. So good, so good. Okay, let me move the chat box here so I can see some more people. Kamal, and her friend. Awesome. Both look so good. Great job on the blending. And again, I see some people's canvases, feel free, once you get done adding the violet, just go back and add some white over it. Just one sheen of white to lighten it up a little bit. But everyone's paintings look fantastic, everyone. So, so good. Sweet. And I think someone put we're going to invite in-person attendees to come up to the camera and show theirs. That would be fantastic. I would love to see what some of the in-person attendees' paintings look like so far. I can kind of see them a little bit in the distance. Okay, we have one person bringing theirs up, and awesome, awesome. Looks great, looks great. So good, love the blending, love it, love it. And sweet. Well, I think we're gonna move on now to finish up our bottom area. So I'm gonna hop back into speaker view, and we're gonna just quickly change the camera here, come back here, and we're gonna take a quick break here, and I'm gonna explain what we're gonna be doing next. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna put up my painting so far here, show what mine looks like on the main camera, but this is how my blending looks. I really love it. I kind of love when we're able to mix where you have the white in the middle and then it kind of gets lighter and darker on both sides of that, but it almost looks kind of like pastel-y, which I love. So, okay, I'm gonna set that back down here. I'm gonna bring up the original design that we're painting right now. So we just finished up the top portion of our painting, our sky. We are now going to get started on doing our water area. After the water area is done, we'll be working on our clouds. Then after that step, our waves and our rocks, and then like our sun and stuff like that. So we're almost there, getting there. I'm gonna hop back, change cameras, and we will get started on our next step. Okay, our paint colors are going to change, at least in the order that they're placed. So we're actually going to start by having our yellow on top, and then followed by, should I use some red? Yeah, we'll have some red there. Actually, no, swap that. We'll do yellow, white, red, pink, and then violet. So try and have your paints placed in that specific order. That will just help when we're painting and adding the colors and stuff like that. It'll also make it easier so no one's kind of mixing up what colors they're using and stuff like that. So they should all be in order like so. I'm gonna go straight into this, but when you're ready, grab your big brush, grab your yellow, and we are going to be painting a shape about above half of at least this section that has not been painted yet. And we're going to be doing the same sort of box and fill method. So I'm going to put the X's on both sides, and you can probably tell here, but when I apply my yellow, there's going to be some like parts on the top where the red is kind of showing up a little bit or doesn't look as finished. And don't worry about that again. We're going to be filling in the horizon line at the very end of the painting. So if you go over accidentally, I kind of did here with the red, don't worry. We're going to do the final line at the very end of the painting. So once you have this main area ready, you can start to fill in with your yellow. Okay, and my yellow is about filled in, I would say. I'm going to set my brush down. I'm going to give everyone some time to get caught up with adding their yellow. Noel put, you must have a lot of these beach paintings by now. What do you do with all of them? That is very, very true. I think I have like a stack. I have like 2 stacks right here. I don't know if you can see in my like small camera on the top left, but these are like 2 of them. I did last night. I did 2 schools for paint night last night, and then I think I have a stack like in my way back there under my neon sign. But yeah, I do a lot of them, so they generally just build up in a pile and just stay like that until I find a use for them. But yeah, thanks for the question. Okay, sweet. Well, I think we're ready to move on to the next step. I think everyone hopefully should have their yellow mostly painted, but we want to also move on to the next step, especially since this paint is already drying and we're going to be doing some blending. So pretty simple here. We're going to grab some white paint, and we're going to do a strip of white about right up like that. And we're actually not going to be like doing the line and crossing off. Just grab a strip of white here, just get some white on your brush, and I call this a flow of traffic, meaning we pretty much only create one main line. So just grab some white and do a flow of traffic on the bottom area of your yellow. And that should just make it a little bit lighter per se. And then once you're done adding the white, just grab some red, and we're going to basically do the exact same thing. We're going to do a flow of traffic, but we are going to drop down about half into the white we just laid down and half into unfinished territory of our canvas. And then you can start applying that red right there, so you can apply it right on the white and then a little below. And then that should give you that sort of texture there. And you can even, if you want, you can kind of blend up a little bit. You can kind of start from the bottom and then push some of the paint more up on your brush and blend into the yellow to make it just look a little bit more blended. Noel put sell them for millions in 10 years. That is very, very true. Or I could even create a digital file and sell it as a, I think NFT, I think is what it's called. Oh, a lot of artists are doing that and making a good amount of money. And she also put, oh yeah, I've heard a lot of those. That is, yeah, very, very true. It's a big market that's coming in the art world, for sure. Okay, pretty simple here. Again, we added that red, and then we just went back with some white, doing just some flows of traffic. We're gonna hop back and go back to our original form here. We're gonna paint to about that spot on the canvas. And I'm going to do the same sort of line here. Pretty bad because it's not fully filled in. But we're going to create two check boxes, crosses, X's. And then once you're ready, you can fill this portion in with pink. Almost knocked my paint can over when I was doing that. I was going a little too fast. Did not mean to go that fast. Okay, and my pink is all done. Now, everyone's probably asking, Evan, we still have this whole section we haven't filled in yet. Pretty simple. This whole section is going to be filled in with our violet. So pretty much when you're done with the pink, you can just grab the violet. You can start to fill in. Again, it's going to be pretty runny. So I suggest just placing your violet down first. And you can even try and blend it into the pink if it's still a little wet. Again, this violet's a little hard to get on there just because it's really runny, but that's normal. But once your violet's on there, grab some white, and then you can blend that white into the violet to give it the consistency that it needs. And overall, we'll make it a little bit lighter. And my suggestion is maybe doing two layers of white. Ideally, we want the bottom of this painting to be lighter than the top of the sky. So we really want this to be lighter than this at the top. Ideally with how the sun is reflecting on the water and stuff like that. So feel free to blend with that brush, back and forth, back and forth. Just really give that nice light texture. And I might even grab some more white there. Really blend, blend, blend. And I think that blending will do it for me. Again, we're going to be adding details over this part, so it's not perfect. No worries. We'll be able to address that later in the painting. Now, once you are finalized with your sky, your sea area, we will not be using this big brush anymore. So you can go ahead and put this big brush in your water or just off to the side. And we'll give everyone time to get caught up with their sea and sky. I'm going to hop into gallery view. If you would like to show what your painting looks like so far now, I would love to see. I'll even shoot some names out. Okay, we got Jessica. Looks so good, Jessica. Just a quick tip, Jessica, I would just apply a little bit more white on your bottom. I know on my my camera, it kind of might look a little bit like the same, but just try your best to maybe do one more, just quick white on the bottom there. Let's see here, Alexis Moore, so good. Let's go to, I say a lot, by the way, so sorry if I repeat myself. Muskan Sawahi, hopefully I said the name right, looks really good. Love the blending. I really like kind of how bold your yellow is. It looks really great. So good on your painting. Looks great. Awesome. Everyone's paintings are looking fantastic. Cheyenne Park, hopefully I pronounced the name right. Just saw your painting, looks great. Awesome. Well, everyone's paintings are looking fantastic. So good. If any of our in-person attendees want to bring up their painting when they're allowed to, I would love to see our in-person attendees' paintings as well. Farhad, so good. Really love it. Love the blending, looks incredible. And thanks again, everyone, for showing your paintings, especially for our virtual crowd. It just helps being able to see where everyone's at, so we're not, rushing anyone and making it hard on everyone. So we're gonna give some more time, for everyone that's still getting caught up to get caught up. Still I can kind of see a few people in our in-person crowd that are still painting away, which is all good. I think we'll give everyone one more minute, and then I'll hop into the other camera and we'll discuss what we're painting for our next step. Okay, and I think we'll just hop on to our other camera right now. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna put my canvas up, but this is what my painting looks like so far. It looks really nice. I'm gonna set it back down here, and I'm gonna grab my original design here. So we just finished our sky background. We finished our sea background as well. We will start now by adding our clouds. It's going to be a little tricky, but I'm going to try and teach it in the best step as I can possible. So just bear with me when we do the clouds. I've done them now for a couple other schools, so I've kind of learned a technique of the fastest way to teach it and make it pretty much self-explanatory. Once we're done with our clouds, we'll move on with doing our rock formation and our waves and stuff like that. And then we'll finish up with our sun. So, awesome. Sweet. Oh, Danny said you're muted. Let me check. Looks fine on my end. Not muted on my Zoom, and both my mics look like they're on. We can hear you. Okay, awesome. Sweet. You're not muted. Okay, gotcha. Just wanted to make sure there. So, okay, I think we're ready to move on. So we're gonna swap cameras here. Put my camera up on the top left. And I'm going to set my canvas right under like that. And let's talk about how we are going to address the clouds. So what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be switching brushes to, I believe, this is the right one. And we'll actually do this one. It's going to be brush number 6. Brush number 6, this is one of the smaller ones, but it has a flat top. Again, brush number 6. It's one of the smaller ones, but it's kind of a square, rounded brush. Not rounded, but flat on the top. And I'm gonna kind of just demonstrate, so don't do any painting just yet, but I'm gonna try and demonstrate the way I do these clouds here. So pretty much the technique I like to use is I like to tap pretty much on the canvas, almost like if you had a Q-tip in your hand and you were tapping in dots. We're basically doing that just with our brush. So what we're gonna do when we start the clouds is we're gonna create this white outline for each of these clouds. So we have this big cloud, we have some small ones over here, and then we have like one underneath with a bigger cloud on the right side. Ultimately, again, we're gonna start with the white outline, and then we'll be creating these various shapes. And after we create those various shapes, so we're gonna like start off with doing the violet in this area. We'll do the violet right here. Then we'll kind of do the violet over here. We'll then start to work down with our color palette. And I'm actually gonna change my paints out right now to the colors we're gonna be starting off with. So we will start with white, then we'll go to violet, then to pink, and you will not need your yellow. So you can just set your yellow off to the side along with your black. Okay, so hopefully that pretty much explains the clouds again. We're gonna be tapping with our brush like that, lightly, but also a little hard if you want to. And yeah, so I'm gonna move my painting down on the ground here so I can kind of look at it when I'm doing this. I'm gonna rearrange my canvas. And let's start doing our clouds. What I'd like everyone to do is to start off with a pretty good amount of white on your brush. So for me, I have about this amount of white on my brush. Which size do we use? 6. Yep, brush number 6. So it's one of the smaller ones with a flat top. But our first marks that we're gonna make are gonna be pretty much about right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start right where the violet meets the pink, and I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to go up like so. So we're pretty much gonna go down, up like that. Again, little taps. We're not just like flowing our brush like this. We're just tapping it individually. And that's gonna give it more the wispy effect that we're looking for. Okay, and then once you have your tapping down there, we're gonna go pretty fast here, but we're going to start dipping down right till we hit about the white area. And actually, I'm gonna bring this out here like so. So I actually was supposed to just kind of go down, go around to about that point. So just adjust accordingly. You can have this like a little white strip right there if you want to, but we're gonna give everyone some time to get caught up on those 2 steps. And then when you're ready, we're gonna start from about right here, and we're gonna take our brush and we're gonna bring our paint to about halfway. It's gonna look a little harder because the white is gonna be down there. But once you add that, you can keep on tapping, and we're gonna go up, and then we're gonna go down like that. And that's ideally pretty much gonna make our main cloud formation. Brush. And what I'm actually going to do, now that I think about it, is I'm going to set this just underneath the clouds. So for those that more like to look at the painting that we're actually doing compared to the one I'm teaching, this is going to help just show kind of the formation of how the clouds look and stuff like that. This actually will be a really good tool. I haven't really done this before, but this will make things a lot easier. So as you can see, we have two baby clouds. We have a baby cloud right here, and then we have one here, but it starts to connect for the cloud on the far right. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our baby cloud right now, and it's going to go right here. So again, this cloud is for this cloud. So go ahead and do your baby cloud right now. And then when you're ready, we're going to start adding a small cloud, which is pretty much almost like the same sort of shape, just underneath. And then when you're ready, we are going to just quickly start to make our main cloud on the right. And we're going to start kind of mixing up from that big cloud. And then we're going to go create a like main circle. And then we're going to stop about halfway into our violet on the top. And we're going to give everyone about 45 seconds to get caught up with your outline for your clouds. It'll definitely get easier from now on. Again, the clouds can be a little tricky to do, and they do take quite a bit of time, but once we kind of get them down to the wire, it makes it a lot easier for everyone. So we're going to give about 15 more seconds to finish up on your clouds. Okay, and then when you're ready, we are going to start with our violet as our next color. And as you can see on my canvas, there's about 3 shapes that have violet right here, and then right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start adding a violet shape about right there. We also have another one that starts kind of at this point and goes down. And again, we're lightly tapping, on that canvas. We want to make sure there's open area so that the background can kind of blend together with it. So you can fill in that tiny shape right there, and then you can start to fill in this big shape on the far left cloud. And then, of course, we have some violet on this side. So we're going to tap our brush down to about right there, and then we will finalize filling in kind of in the middle with doing our violet like so. Again, light taps. And feel free again to follow along. You can kind of look on the original painting compared to the top, just for the exact placement and stuff like that. We'll give everyone some time to get caught up. Again, and probably some people are looking, they're like, Evan, why is my background way different, than this? That's just how it really is a lot of the times, is the paintings will always look a little bit different in their own way, especially for the backgrounds, and the way you do it, it's going to look different every time. So no worries if your painting, doesn't look exactly like the main two I have on my table right now. This is supposed to just be fun, a fun, relaxing class where we can, listen to some lo-fi music and paint this awesome beach scene. I know a lot of us are unfortunately haven't been able to go to the beach, especially for spring break and stuff like that because of the pandemic. So being able to at least paint the beach in our dorm rooms, in a socially distanced big room, at least is bringing that joy of the beach into our paintings. Okay, so for our next step here, we're going to grab our red as our next color. And we have some certain areas that we're going to fill. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to start adding this red right alongside the violet, and I'm going to do the same by adding some red about right there. And then I'm going to start adding the line right under that white with the red. And then on the baby cloud, I'm just going to do one tiny strip of red on the top. And then I'm going to start applying some red on the bottom. And I'm going to start moving my way up to about right there. I'm also going to start a little bit at the top here, and I'm going to make a line right next to the violet. And then I'm actually going to start to try and fill in this main area next to the violet on the far right cloud. And I actually might add some red just about right up there. And that will do it for our red. We're gonna give everyone some time to get caught up. I know I did a lot of steps there. Again, we have a part right there. We have this kind of main line that starts here and zigzags its way to that cloud. I added some red on the top, red on the baby cloud, and then smaller cloud that leads into the big one. So we'll give everyone about 45 seconds to get all caught up for, and then we will finish up with adding about 2-3 more shades of color onto our clouds. And I think we'll just get started with the pink. So when you're ready, just grab some pink on your brush, and we're pretty much going to be repeating some of these main steps where we're painting like around and stuff. So let's start at the far top cloud up here, and let's start to apply some pink right next to it, and then we're going to circle that pink around our violet. And then we're also going to add some pink under the red on this portion. We're also going to apply some pink right there. Let's even apply some pink right under the red on this cloud. And we'll do the same down here as well. Apply some pink right up to there. Then we'll circle with some pink right along the red. Pretty much what we're doing is we're basically doing what we did with the red, just around it, ideally. So again, that was added with our pink. And then I'm just going to jump into it. Once you're done adding your pink, grab a good glob of pink and then smear it on your palette paper. Because what we're going to do is we're going to make a new texture with pink and then white. So grab a glob of pink, a glob of white, and then mix it. And it should give you this very like bubblegum looking light pink. And then you can just set your brush down like that for now, and we'll wait to start using that color once everyone is ready. We'll give about 45 seconds until we get started adding our light pink. Again, we are mixing just regular pink with a lot of white to create that bubblegum looking pink, where it's just a lighter shade of the dark original pink that we used. Okay. And then when you're ready, you can grab that light pink color. And what we're going to do is we're pretty much going to paint around our original pink. So we can start up here, you can start tapping down. You can start tapping down. And you can even, like, maybe if you want, you can bring that pink and just tap over some of the other shades. So that's going to do is it's going to just help blend. So we'll do the light pink on this side, and then we'll start adding the light pink under our baby cloud with our original pink. Saying pink a lot. But again, we're pretty much just following this light pink under the last tones that we've added for our clouds. Okay, and then that's most of my pink added. And actually, if you want to, just grab some of that light pink, and then you can start to very much lightly tap some of the kind of this pink underneath some of your clouds. And what this is going to do is it's going to create kind of the illusion that there's some smaller clouds kind of in the distance. So you can just lightly, you know, tap that brush. And you can kind of tell, like, from this compared to like this is the different. There's more yellow, you know, right here compared to the painting we're doing right now, where it's definitely more red. But once you're done applying your light pink, pretty much to finish up these clouds, we're just going to go around with our white and just paint, you know, really close to that original white line that we added. And we're just going to really try and make these clouds a little bit more puffier and just redo some of the areas that are not filled in yet currently. So you can even add some white underneath that part, and then go the top part there. We can work our way down. Like so. Again, you can even grab that white and kind of tap it just all over in certain parts of your cloud to give it a little more texture and detail and stuff like that. And I'm even going to just grab like some red and kind of go over again some of these small details underneath the clouds to make it look like there's some clouds off in the distance. Other than that, that will pretty much do it for my clouds. I might maybe just add some more white right here. Yeah, that will do it. Again, these clouds look, of course, way different than these ones in their own type of way. I kind of have some orange that's added on this cloud and the cloud on the far right side, but it's easier just to kind of stick with that original color. So I'll leave the canvas up for about a minute and a half, and then we will get on with our next steps of our painting. I'm gonna hop over to gallery view. If you would like to show what your clouds look like so far, I would love to see. I'll even shout some more names out as well. But pretty much from here on out, it's smooth sailing. Kind of got my beach reference there, smooth sailing. Generally, the clouds are kind of the hardest thing to do, but once we get past that, it's pretty good. So, but again, for the virtual people that are attending, if you would like to show what your canvas looks like so far with your clouds, I would love to see. Okay, we have one person here. Let's see here. Alexis Moore. So good on the clouds. Love them. Let's see here. Annie. So good for your clouds. Really like them a lot. Again, everyone's paintings have been looking so good. Jessica put, how do you do high wispy clouds? I think what she's referring to is more making them look more wispy. And again, what I recommend, you know, is lightly tapping with your brush, but also just making some of your areas, you know, look a little bit brighter and just tapping it. Like this cloud's a really good example because it kind of dips down, like it goes out and dips down like that. And to try and, you know, replicate it. And again, everyone's clouds are going to look different. I was not the best when I started trying to learn how to paint clouds, but just trial and error is always good. But try your best just to look what you see on the screen and then try and replicate that on your canvas. Farhad, love the clouds, looks so good, so good. Awesome. Well, I think we're gonna get on with our next step. I'm gonna change the camera, put the original design down there. Okay, and I'm gonna bring up my canvas here. So this is how my clouds look. I think they look really great. So my canvas back down here. Trying to arrange it on my camera up there. Okay, so our next step now, we shouldn't be doing any more breaks. We're gonna start with doing our waves, doing our rock formations. Probably before that, we have some sea foam that we're gonna just take care of. And we actually might do that for our first step, just to get that out of the way. Then we have our sun, and that will be that. So, okay, without further ado, let's change cameras and let's finish this painting up. Okay. So for our first step here, I'm gonna rearrange these. We're gonna do our violet, that, and that. So we're gonna have violet on the bottom, followed by pink, red, and white. And we're actually gonna keep using the same brush we have been using. Move this on my screen here. And when you're ready, grab some violet on your brush and make a dot with the violet right on the far right side of your canvas on the top where your pink meets the like lighter tone there. And then do the same on the opposite side. Pretty simple here. Once you have these two dots, we're going to basically do like a squiggly line for both of these. And what we're trying to replicate is the sea, almost like the waves kind of coming in, like a rip tide in a way, kind of coming in on this type of side. Once you have these two lines here, you can basically start to fill in with your violet, but we're not going to be adding like an additive to it. We're just going to use it how it is. And it's going to be, again, a little runny, but that actually works to the benefit for this design because it almost makes it look like the paint's, you know, like almost like watered down a little bit. That's exactly kind of what we're looking for. So feel free to fill in both these areas with the violet. And then right once you have the violet done on both sides, we are going to be using pink and just pretty much adding a pink line right alongside the squiggly line we just laid down for our violet. So we're just going to do a squiggly line of pink around the violet here. And then once you do that, grab some white and do the same exact thing here. Squiggly line around the violet. That was a little too much with my white. I probably needed to go down a little bit with that, but. And a squiggly line going down. You can even grab some more pink if you want and blend it in a little bit to make it look a little more realistic. And then I recommend, if you want, just to grab some white and you can just do some like little dots on the bottom here to make it look like kind of sea foam or the sea coming in. Do that on both of these sides. That will do it for that part of the section. We'll give everyone some time to get caught up on doing these parts before we move on to our waves. I'm going to quickly check up on my Instagram here and repost a few things for tonight's painting. Again, we'll wait here and just make sure everyone's caught up before we get started. Okay, we'll wait a few more seconds here. Okay, and then I think we are ready to move on. So with the same brush we've been using, we're going to quickly fill in our main wave, which is going to start right where like the bottom of our yellow is. And how we're going to do this is we're going to kind of make this squiggle line. We're going to go up and then to the side like that. And then we're going to basically do the same exact thing just underneath. And then we're going to be filling this entire part in with red. So go ahead and make those two lines and then put those check marks, those X's, like so. And again, we'll make sure everyone has enough time to do that. And then when you feel comfortable, you can fill this whole area of red in. So I just filled in my main area with red. I'm going to give everyone time to fill that in right now before we get going. We're super close here. We got the wave to finish. We got like two more things. We'll do our rock formation or our sky or not our sky, our sun. And then we'll be pretty much finished with this painting. So we're almost there, everyone. We're almost there. Okay, and then when you're ready, what we're gonna do is grab some violet on your brush. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint, I'm gonna quickly just do it fast for everyone. We're gonna paint that area and just lay some violet down. And then we're gonna basically do the same thing on the opposite side, but we're gonna leave some area in the middle where it's just red. Again, this violet's not really gonna mix well with the red, but we're just gonna leave it as a basically start barrier. So it's gonna look pretty dark, not that visually appealing. And then when you are ready, after laying down the violet, we're gonna add 2 colors pretty much to create this more wave. And that's gonna be the pink and the white. So when you're ready, you can just do some, again, I'm just like stroking my brush like down like this, creating these types of brush strokes. Just lightly like to the side and flicking it a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the same on this side here, but I'm also just trying to make it look like the water's rolling in. But once you add that violet, you can just go and grab that white and then kind of go over. And then that should really give you the effect that we're looking for here. And we're going to do that, of course, on this other side as well. And that looks pretty good on my end. I'm probably going to apply some more white. I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. But once you're done with the waves, I know I'm going a little fast here, but to give everyone some time to get caught up here. But once you're done adding those waves, you can just grab some white, and then you can pretty much start to apply a strip of white on the top of your wave. And just follow that right along to the far right side of the wave. I'm going to set my brush down and give everyone the chance to get caught up. I know, again, I moved a little quickly, but for the sake of time and just making sure that everyone has the chances to get caught up. Just to recap, we painted just the big red shape for our wave. We then added some violet on this section and then violet on the left section, followed by starting to add these brush strokes kind of to the side with pink on both sides. Then we added our white, which gave it a little more texture, a little bit more flow. And then we finished up with a white line on the top of the wave. We're going to give everyone some time to, again, get caught up with adding and doing your wave. Okay, and then if you want, like my wave's already probably pretty dry by now, so I'm just gonna go back and just add some white to give it some more texture. Do that on the other side as well. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is once you're done with your wave, you can just grab some pink on your brush. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna create 2 little like kind of lines, not straight lines, but they're gonna be a little like iffy. And we're gonna do a smaller one maybe just some small ones back there. And then you can also basically go back over them with some white, just like tap. But what we're doing is we're trying to create like some waves that look like there's, you know, small waves out in the distance behind our big one. So again, we just added some pink and then we went back and added some white over them. I'm gonna set my brush down there. We're gonna give everyone some time to do those small little waves. So close here to finishing up this painting. So close. And really, once you're done with this main brush we've been using for a while, you can just put that in the water. We don't need that anymore. We're gonna be swapping brushes to brush number 8. This is the one with kind of, it should be the other biggest brush out of the set. So it should be bigger than any of the brushes you're using right now. And then feel free to open up that black, because black will be our next color we'll be using. So I'm gonna give everyone some time to get their black opened up. And then we have some rocks to paint. Now I'm gonna go a little fast with the rock formations here, just because they're pretty simple to locate and kind of replicate. So our first rock formation is going to start underneath our wave. And I'm gonna do this fairly simple here, but you can kind of create this big jagged line, and then you can kind of do the same sort of line just underneath it. And then ideally when you're ready, you can just paint over with the black. Your paint underneath should be fairly dry by now. So it should be pretty easy to paint, and this black just smears on very easily. But we're gonna create this big rock formation like so. Once you have that rock formation, we have some smaller ones just on the bottom here. So I'm gonna add one right there. And then I'm gonna maybe add a little bigger one on this side. And then I'm gonna grab some more, and then I'm gonna like do some rocks right along the wave a little bit. Might even kind of go down there, swoop down. Some of my paint on the wave is still a little wet, so it's kind of giving this nice little flow there, which actually works to our advantage. Maybe even take this up a little bit more too. And again, everyone's rock placement is going to look a little different, so don't worry if your, rocks are not exactly, where you want them to be. Everyone's rocks are going to look, of course, different and placed different as well. And I'm going to place like some ones off to the side there. And then I just like to add some baby rocks, so I just like tap down in certain areas on the bottom just to make them look like there's, smaller rocks and stuff. Make that a little bit bigger. And then I'm gonna finalize the last and final rock, which is my big boulder rock. How I like to do this is I like to find the middle of my canvas, which is about right there. And then I move a little bit to the right. And then I create a line. And then I bring that black line all the way to the bottom, like so. And then what I do is I kind of crease my way up with black. And then I like to kind of go and touch kind of the bottom of the main cloud to the right, and then fill in. I'm gonna give everyone a couple of minutes here to get caught up with adding their rock formations. I might touch up this area right here. Again, I'm gonna give everyone some time to get caught up on the rock formations. I'm gonna set that brush off to the side. Before we move on, again, we're gonna give everyone time. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4 more steps here. We're so close. I'm gonna give everyone about a minute and a half to get all finalized. While we're waiting, I'm gonna do an Instagram story. Okay. Just made an Instagram story there. I'm gonna give everyone about 30 more seconds here. And also, you'll not need the brush that you just used for your black anymore. So you can put that brush in your water. And then ideally, I will give you the brush number I'm using for the next part, but any of these like really small brushes other than the one that has a flat tip. So brush number 4, save that brush. I would just put it on like the opposite side of your canvas. The next brush I'm gonna be using is brush number 2, but all the rest of these, there's like 5 more brushes that are all the same. We will not really be using those, but you can either use one of these or you can just use brush number 2, which is the exact same brush. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to add my sun. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna locate the middle of the canvas, about right there for me. I'm gonna do a tap, and then I'm going to make a small little circle here. We don't want the circle too big. We want it to be, oh yeah, I think there might be a 2 and 0. Yeah, there is a 2 and 0. You can either actually, you can use 2 or 2 and 0. They're like the same brush ideally. So 2 and 2, 0 works just fine. Any of the small ones are good. And then after you place your white, I just like to go around with some yellow. I just grabbed some yellow from up here because there's still some paint on there. And then what you can do is after you place your sun, you can just like kind of go around it and add some just little like yellow marks here to make it look like there's some rays coming off. Then what you can do is you can go back with some white, do some even smaller lines over those yellow ones. And this was a little too big of a mark there, so I might try and adjust with doing like horizon line. That's good. Once you're done adding your sun, we have 4 of these small lines that we're going to add with white. One's going to be right there. Looks a little off there. I might have to make it a little longer there. And we'll do one underneath. Then we'll do another one, which is smaller. And we'll do one final one. And basically, it's supposed to get smaller every time you do those 4 lines. You can even grab some more white and just kind of play around with adding some white over the yellow to make it look like kind of the waves are moving out in the distance. And then the final step of our painting journey of doing this sunset is going back and painting the horizon line again over with the red. So what I recommend is using your brush 4. This was the brush I said to set to the side. This should be the bigger one now out of all the brushes. And you can start to apply that horizon line. I would start to try and add it a little bit over the white there. And then you can bring that and then tighten up that line of the red right against the yellow. And you're probably going to take that horizon line a little bit over the this boulder here, but that's perfectly good. And just be careful of your boulder right here, because some of it might still have a little bit of black, so you might just have to be careful when you're trying to smear it over. Should be fairly dried, but... And this is kind of another optional thing, but if you want, you can just mix some white with some black to create like a gray, and then you can just go back over some of your rocks on like the sides and stuff, and add like kind of a more secondary texture tone to it. Might not show up that well, but I like to do this on some of my rocks. And yeah, for the most part, that is the finished painting. Set my brush down, I can actually put it in the water. But there you have it, finished beach scene. Hopefully everyone loved enjoying and painting this. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it.